and Lisa. Hello, ladies.
Hi.
Yeah, Tereza, please introduce yourself.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me here. TEREZA NEMESSANYI. I am at Microsoft and I run our global strategic alliances with top venture capital and private equity firms. I mostly focus in B2B and enterprise strategy, like late stage, but I've spent a lot of time doing all stages.
Thank you. And Lisa.
Hi, thanks for having me here. I am CMO, COO in the blockchain space, investing space, and currently I'm running a foundation, but I also advise a lot of startups on how to pitch to investors and how to get their product ready for pitching, as well as I invest some of my own money as well. So I'm really interested in the topic of pitching well, because there's a lot of pitching that doesn't happen well, and looking forward to having the conversation.
Thank you so much. Okay, Max, please.
Oh, yeah, Lisa, maybe you will provide then the big feedback.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me here. I'm Max. I've been in the marketing for more than 20 years right now. I've been working on Discovery Channel before, in Wunderman, and working for Microsoft, by the way, in there. And but like probably 8 last years, I'm doing my own projects. The last one is called Uno, which is we called it everyone's pocket marketer. It's like a platform, the marketing platform for the smallest businesses, because there are millions of actually solo entrepreneurs in this country and everywhere else that are struggling to get the new business out of digital environment. They get used to offline things like kind of a post-its and maybe even the radio, but digital is different. You need to data crunching, you need integrations, you need all of the things to get things done. And the problem for them is that they're not ready for that. They're not skilled for that. Now we are talking about people like roofers, plumbers, dog walkers. That's why I have this background. So people who are not actually into digital at all. They do not use it in their daily life. They maybe use it for the social networking or for the messaging, but that's it. That they don't use that a lot. And that's why we are on the mobile, by the way. They don't even use the desktop. We have the mobile application as our interface to that. The problem is that, for example, like how would the usual Google advertising stack looks for them if they do it themselves? It's like a landing page, only one of them, like a dozen maybe of keywords, no negative keywords, 1 or 2 ads actually, and a little of integration or no whatsoever. So the problem is it doesn't work like that. It should be very, very different to make it effective. With our solution, with our platform, there are thousands of the landing page for each of the keywords, actually. There are thousands of ads that are for each of the keywords, and there are hundreds, at least hundreds of negative keywords. So when we do it ourselves, when we do it like on our platform, the quality score is like 3 times as big as if they do it themselves. It's quite hard. It's actually making this amount of marketing assets wasn't actually been possible until very recently, until the AI made it possible. Because in this year, you maybe heard about the GPT-3 platform, which actually made it possible to generate very good English text that could be used as a landing for the landing pages, for the ads, and etc. etc. So what we do is actually we compile in a platform that generates all of the marketing assets for them, and then actually via the API puts that on Google, on Facebook, and all of the leads came in from these sources came into the same app, and they use it as a CRM. That's it. So they have all-in-one solution for the lead generation for them. It's as simple as that, but it's a huge technology stack behind that. We have a great team already. We have 6 people in our team that are working full time. We have an advisory board in most of the, I would say, fields in business and product, in AI and machine learning. And we have great actually angels already from Google, from Capterra, from New York, from here from DC, where I am right now. And we have a great early traction, I would say. We at the moment we have kind of a 1,200 daily users of our mobile application. It's only on Android at the moment, but we are planning to launch the iOS later this year. And what should I say? We raised some money. We are going to raise in the next year, like for the development and scaling of our technology, because we are we're going to be ready in like 6 or 8 months to scale it further, and probably reach the 10,000 daily users by the end of next year. And around we are going probably to break even around like 12 or 16 months from now. Yeah, that's it. It's pretty much simple thing that you can use as a if you have a mobile phone, you can promote your business wherever you want. It's everyone's pocket marketer.
Okay. Okay.
Any questions?
Yeah. What is your burn rate?
That's an interesting question. It's right now it's about 15,000 or something. It depends. I mean, it depends on how much we invest in promotion and advertising, because we are obviously trying different hypotheses. We're trying to buy and acquire people on Facebook, on Google, etc. At the moment, right at the moment, we are trying we're making this organic, and it's pretty good because we are on top of the search. For example, if you search for the landing page on Android Play Market, we're going to be on top. If you search for lead generation, we're going to be on top of that, and that gives us a lot of new users because most of the people, actually like 80% of the people, are searching for the apps on those search engines. It's like CEO, but on the for the applications for the mobile.
Hey, Max, can I ask a question? So what's the experience for the business owner, like from download of this app to when they're live, actually running campaigns? I'd love to just understand the speed and the effort involved in sort of beginning to drive value. And secondly, do you have any metrics about what your stickiness rate is, your retention? And actually, I don't even know your business model. I'm presuming it's kind of a monthly SaaS or something, or maybe it's a percentage of something. What are the mechanics of that?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, is that the business model is freemium, actually, because we want to get as much of them as possible to get inflow of data for our models, for our AI models. So that's why we provide them with the pages, the basic pages for free, and they can use them forever. But then if they want the premium, like domain and premium features, they pay $10 per month as a subscription model. They also need to pay for the advertising. It's a separate payment, separate budget.
And do you take a cut out of that, or a placement?
Not at the moment, but yeah, we're going to do that. We actually, at the moment we are trying to make it like a CPA model. We're not selling them. They don't pay the budget and then advertise. We are selling them leads, so they pay per lead, which is actually more profitable for us.
And they're paying that now. You have revenue.
Yeah. Sorry again.
And they're paying that now. You have revenue.
Yeah. They're already paying. We have some revenue. It's pretty small, but it's still. I mean, we have paying customers, and it's growing, and the LTV is growing, which is more important for us. As for the first question, they actually our first iteration was like 12 minutes to launch the campaign. The second iteration is like 2 minutes. Actually, 1.5 to 2 minutes. They only need to answer several questions. At the moment, they need to answer like 5 questions. With the AI model, they will need to answer 2 questions: where they are and what they do. That's it. everything else is going to be automatic. So it's going to be like even less than that, probably, you know, half a minute or something like that to get the campaign running, which is absolutely essential, because the more, you know, steps you have, the more, you know, people are actually leaving the application. Everybody is getting used to very simple and very, you know, instant solutions right now. So
and
yeah,
what's their first experience of payback, like when they went through this admittedly quick and lazy process to get started? When do they feel goodness? When do they either feel lead, or what's the payback, and when?
They getting leads on average on the next day. So it's like, we are informing them that everything's set and your campaign is running, and usually in 1 or 1.5 days they'll get in a first lead. I mean, and then after that they're going to be optimized even more, so they get in more and more leads each day.
So
yeah, it's like this.
Hi Max, if you were to give a 1-sentence pitch to a new customer, what would it be?
It's everyone's pocket marketer. It's something that we are using a lot, and it's actually something that they you know, perceiving very good, because it's something I mean, the essence of that is that you don't need a computer, you don't need anything, you don't need any skills or any you just need a 15 kind of a time for you to find this application and then to launch the campaign and then wait for the results. And this is something, and it's probably, you know, remarked to you, it was Uber's everyone private driver or something. So some of them actually reminds us about this slogan, and it's works good.
So what is the average size of your customer? Have you done any demographics on your customer base at this point?
What do you mean, size of the customer?
Size of the business.
Oh, they solo entrepreneurs. Most of these guys only have one person in their business themselves, and that's it. And this is our actually very important kind of a part of our business. We don't want to, you know, go further than that, because there are so many solutions in marketing at the moment.
True, yeah.
But those guys who are actually in the very edge of the B2B and B2C, they are essentially consumers.
Yeah,
They're not really businesses. Yeah, so that's why you need to use all of the UX, you know, features like for the consumers, not for the businesses. They do not, you know, ready to invest.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you mentioned Uber. Have you done any partnerships yet with companies that mobilize a large force of solopreneurs?
We are in talks right now. We didn't do that before, but we are talking to several companies who are doing the, you know, something after that. For example, the Titan, Service Titan. They do provide all of the you know, how is it? I mean, all of the software they need to use after they acquire new customers. And we are talking with the guys who providing the invoicing systems, because it's something they need to do right after they actually get the lead, and that's why we can be useful to each other.
Max, and I have a question. What is your go-to-market strategy and exit strategy? What do you think?
Yeah, good one. The exit strategy is probably, you know, to sell it to some strategic company, but I don't think it's. We'll see. It's something that we think is still, you know, something that we need to think more about. The acquisition is, as I said, the first and the foremost is the SEO. They do look and do search these kind of solutions online on the app stores, and there are so many of them actually, and so we are actually growing in this on this organic traffic for a lot, like 30% a month. But then we are going to introduce the referral program, because right at the moment there are 3% of them who are referring us to their friends. They have a lot of friends like themselves in different businesses, and we're going to introduce the system that will be available for them to introduce to, like invite a friend or something like that. And there are affiliate program that we are going to introduce, because like 5% of them are actually marketers, or they want to be marketers, actually younger people who wants to use their skills in digital to to make some money, and we want to allow them to use our application to to make those money by acquiring more people for us, more customers for us. Facebook advertising also works. We already tested that. We did it like through the very kind of a complicated system, which we parse people from the Yelp and elsewhere. Then we make the customer audience on Facebook, and then we advertise to this audience, and that works quite greatly. It's like $18 per install at the moment, so which works with our unit economics. So it should be good. And then we'll go for the PR or something like that.
Have you spoken to any of your customers to get kind of a story about how it changed their lives, or changed their business, changed their ability to make money?
Yeah, I can tell you one of those. It was the very beginning of our development, and we talked during the CastDev process with one of the guys in Minnesota and Minneapolis, and one day he called me back. We've talked to him like several times, and then called me back on Friday, and he asked if we already launched our application. It wasn't launched then. And I said, what we are going to launch it, but it's not going to be like in this week, probably next week or the week after that. And he said, if you can launch it right now, because and he told me a story that he actually needs money right now. He has a business of sober driving. He's driving people from the bars, and the problem was that he couldn't. He couldn't pay for his mortgage, and the bank was actually going to evict him. Is it the right term, to evict him and his daughter actually from his house? So it was essential for him to get money right now. So I called my CTO, who is in Germany, and asked him to launch right now. He did. He used our application, and then after like 8 hours of working with that, I don't know, I was doing different things. He called me back and asked me to switch the campaign off, because it was too difficult for him to drive in while getting all of these leads coming out. That was the changes for it. Yeah, it was, and he's still our client, and he has now different business right now. But yeah, it's a great story that illustrates the essence of it. True.
So saving lives is always a good thing in my book. No question about that. And who are your competitors? Who else are they playing with or looking at?
It's interesting, but it's pretty. The advertising, the marketing for those guys on mobile is still pretty empty sphere. We have a couple of those. The AdHoc, for example, and Baya, who Wix also there, the MailChimp also there, but they have very different approach. You need to do it yourself. We call it, do it yourself vs generative. When you do it yourself, it's fine. You can do the website or something. But if you use it for the lead generation, you need more of that. You need thousands of that, and they cannot do that with Wix, with MailChimp, and stuff like that. But on this in this year, there are a couple of actually good examples appeared: the Copysmith AI and Copy.ai, who are using GPT-3 to actually generate all of the marketing assets. They're great in that. They're not there yet because they don't have the platform. They're just generating and does nothing, just provide you with the assets. While our platform actually integrates everything into a platform, into a stack for each of those users. But yeah, it's something that obviously going to be very hot pretty soon because of these, advances in AI.
Mm-hmm. Okay, more questions.
I can provide you with all of this stuff if you want. I mean, all of the links and yeah.
Okay.
I'm good with questions. I want to check in on the process on our timing. I don't want to take us afield, go deeper if we need to go broader or whatever. So tell us.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's move to the next page. Yeah, Thomas, are you ready? Yeah, Max, thank you so much. And Sam,
Max,
please. Yes, and Max, thank you. Send me, please, like your invest doc for us. It's will be great.
I will do. Yeah, will be cool. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Max.
Have a good one.
Quick question: is it okay for me to share slides?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
You can share it.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Tomas. I'm the co-founder and CEO at TEREZA, the marketplace where we help businesses find creatives through a skill quantification method and grouping them in on-demand teams. So a little bit of background on myself. I have a background in classical composition, working as well in the advertising industry. I was previously a founder of a flight case manufacturing company in Colombia, where I'm from originally. I have a master's in media and technology from Parsons, and I worked at United Nations and at another venture-backed startup as head of marketing here in Brooklyn. My co-founder and CTO, Christian, he has a background in computer science. He was former CTO at another venture-backed ad tech startup called Admirable, and has been leading a team of AI engineers at Royal Caribbean. And Maria Pava, she's a master's in strategic design from Pratt Institute here in Brooklyn. She's our VP of product and communications. And our extended team, all with backgrounds in Universal Music, in Microsoft as well, and JWT. So what is the need? The majority of the small and medium businesses here in the US, at least 5 million of them, they need a solid, hardworking team that deliver on time and will not break the bank. In fact, one out of three every employer do not find suitable creative candidates. The reality is that finding and working with a team is very hard. As you all might all know, you spend hours and hours trying to find the perfect team member, only to find out that folks that you just hired do not even use the same design software, are not on the same page. And this is almost a 45 billion global digital workplace market, which especially during and after COVID, will continue to grow because people have found that working remotely has a lot of benefits, but the team factor is very important as well. This presents us with a unique opportunity, which you can save time and money by matching the skills to the demand of the remote creative workforce by building on-demand teams. So this is how it works. With TEREZA, we conceive ourselves as a marketplace network where we provide a networking opportunity for creatives so they can continue advancing in their careers, but a marketplace as well, where businesses can hire these creatives either individually or as effective on-demand teams. We've built SaaS tools where we consider ourselves as collaborative, project-based tools that are seamless and can help with serve-self workflows between creatives and clients. So here's our 3 examples. For example, whenever you post a project, you can organize the hierarchy of the team members that are part of the project. So for example, here is Maria Pava. She belonged to Silhouette Group, which is an agency, and she can see all the other people that were, let's say, reporting to her, as well as vendors, freelancings, and others. From the client side, you can see an entire timeline where you can see all the different collaborators working seamlessly with all the different deliverables that you can, of course, program beforehand once you publish the opportunity. And you can see exactly what is the upcoming deliverable. You have a beautiful UI where you can see all the different updates from each one of the collaborators on the project, and making sure that you can change or optimize each deliverable. And the most important factor, which is pay or get paid quickly. Within the creative industries, it has been very known that we are a very informal industry. So there's lack of data, lack of banking tools, and we want to change that by making sure that in less than 14 days, people can get paid and have a consistent workflow by changing from one project to the next. We would call this My Wallet, which is basically an easy way to manage all your funds and either disperse them to your accounts or change them to other projects. We believe that the future of work is happening now. So all these businesses are currently under-resourced because they cannot hire a full-time CMO or hire an agency, which costs them thousands of dollars, but they can hire, for example, freelancers at a fraction of the cost in time. And time is the most important aspect here. We've reached about 7,500 creatives, primarily in Latin America and here in some cities in the US. And we're generating about $7,500 in MRR. We're going to be reaching about 10,000 users by the end of this year. And we've continued to grow in the user base of clients that are generating projects and hiring us to do other types of development as well. We were part also earlier last year, we were part of the Startup Ventures Accelerator, batch 8, where we launched our beta, and now we're close to releasing our version 2 as well of the product. We also have enjoyed some recognitions from MIT Technology Review, where we were awarded with a grant, Wire Magazine, Entrepreneur, and Forbes. I was recently named as Ambassador for Entrepreneurship by the Colombian Government Trade Agency, which helped open a lot of doors as well, more on the corporate government side, let's say. Our creatives come from 277 cities and almost 37 countries, specifically in media, design, and entertainment, all working alongside the different projects in audiovisual creative projects as well. Here's some of the feedback that recent customers have helped us. So for example, My Wellbeing, they're a mental wellness startup here in Brooklyn. Nellis University, Nellis is a corporation that connects users and people that are interested in social entrepreneurship with corporations that want to provide this to their employees. Nellis is a Japanese company. And Cocrea is a corporation in Colombia where we're helping, they're using our technology to connect investors that want to invest in creative projects in Colombia. And as well, we're working with other universities, chambers of commerce, also using our technology. Our business model is very simple. We want to convert every team's creativity into growth. So basically, after the clients are posting their projects, we have a take rate of 20% per transaction. Our other revenue model is with enterprise, which has been primarily 80% of, about 80% of the revenue that we've gotten thus far, where we charge about $30,000 per contract if they have customized modules that they want to implement. And then from there on, we start at $500 per month. We have 3 clients in this enterprise model. Our unit economics are very positive in the sense that the average ticket size of businesses that are hiring and investing in these clients and these creatives, has an average month payment of $175, where our churn rate is about 6% thus far, and the LTV to CAC ratio is about 4 points. We believe that, of course, as you all know, the world has changed dramatically in the past few months, and we believe that digital creative work will now grow at an unprecedented pace. We've seen a lot of these different tools that are empowering creatives with tools such as Patreon and other platforms. We believe that by associating ourselves with these larger corporations, we're providing more tools to empower this creative ecosystem. So one of our distribution channels is socializing as well with Spotify. Spotify has acquired a number of different startups in the creator space. For example, Sound Better, it was a marketplace for musicians as well. Also Anchor, a podcast creator tool. In R&D, we're investing in the next few months in My Wallet and My Gigs. We want to optimize these 2 tools to envision these creatives having a lot of frequency with the projects that they're working on, and also making sure that they have a consistent wallet that is filled with cash, basically. In the next 6 months, we're going to be investing in our iOS and Android development. Right now, our app is a web-based app, primarily because a lot of people are working from their computers and are using their computer to do any work as well actively. And we have a content strategy where we publish on a weekly basis called The Hub, where we publish articles with tips and insights, industry interviews, and a podcast called Creator. We have about 1,000 users that have registered and have downloaded our podcast. We are going to be starting our 3rd season in January. And Grita, which is an online conference that we distributed for about 2,800 people from 9 countries. Our market is creativity. And if you might think about it as a very big thing, we want to focus on the digital content market in the US, which is about $47 billion in the next 4 years. We're focusing more on the creative temp staffing. So think about it when an agency wants to hire a group of creatives or freelancers. We're in that threshold where we want to be the intermediary between small and medium-sized businesses that want to hire creatives. Or it can also be, for example, a studio that wants to hire a group of session musicians for a single track. Again, doing this remotely, transparency, all involved. And focusing primarily on the 10% of market share of the top cities. Consider this as Ciudad de Mexico, so Mexico City, New York, Miami, Chicago, where we know that the ecosystems are continually growing, and the industries within the creative sector are very connected with the educational institutions and advertising as well. Our exit strategy is based on, again, these creator tools that have been acquired by other larger companies. So think about Spotify that acquired SoundBetter, another online music studio called Soundtrap. Reverb, for example, was recently acquired just last year by Etsy. It's an online music gear marketplace. And more, as I mentioned, Patreon, they're generating a lot of wealth, especially empowering these creatives with tools, SaaS tools that can empower their own professions. Right now, we're continually fundraising. We want to make sure that we continue to grow and make our customers even happier. So we have a pipeline of about 80 different users, both companies, small startups, as well as the enterprise, so chambers of commerce, ministries of culture, where we are delivering different options to them. And we want to grow our revenue in the next 12 to 18 months. We believe that we're going to be reaching about 150K in the next 5 months as well. Our current investors include, as I mentioned, Startup Ventures, MIT Technology Review, a grant, and NYU. We were part of a summer launchpad there that also provided us with a grant. So again, thank you very much. I'm Tomas, co-founder of TEREZA, marketplace for creatives. Thank you.
Thank you, Tomas. That was great. I'm really in the fintech. Oh, okay, there you are. I'm really in the fintech, and my background's at PayPal and financial innovation. So the area that caught my attention the most was your wallet. I agree that the creative payment process is pretty broken right now across the world. And I'm just wondering, you don't have to give more detail about that area, but I assume that that is one of the more challenging areas to develop because of jurisdictional regulations and changes and differences between them. So, at some point I'd be interested in knowing more about your plans on the wallet side. Otherwise, your plan looks fairly solid. I know it's a big, what they say is that the only thing that can't be replaced is attention, right? And you're saying creatives, which is the same thing, but I'm just thinking about how you might integrate with other players in the ecosystem who are also working on this attention, the scarcity of attention, which can never be increased. You can't print more attention tokens, because there's only so many humans with so much attention. So I'm just wondering if you have explored any partnerships with companies like Brave or companies that use the BAT, the basic attention token on the blockchain side. I saw PayPal in your wallet. I'm just wondering if you can give any more details about that side of things.
Yeah,
absolutely. So I guess a quick comment about the payment side, and then an answer to your potential partnership question. So the first one, yes, cross-border transactions are very hard precisely because of that. So for example, majority of our users that are in Colombia, creating a transaction from a client in the US with a client with a customer in Colombia is a little bit challenging. So we have tried to integrate, for example, with PayPal. They need to generate a certain threshold of monthly transactions in order for us to be integrated into the marketplace. But it's simply an easier way right now for people who have a PayPal account to get connected and to get disbursements. Another one that we're integrating with is Mercado Pago, which is very well known in Latin America, and basically offers that opportunity to make payouts as well. Right now, what we're trying to do is making it a little bit easier for people to just pay, and then we, at the end of the month or at the end of 14 days, once we do the know your customer situation with their bank accounts, we can disperse the payments. Of course, we're trying to optimize this as much as possible, but I think once we get to a monthly recurring gross merchandise value in the platform, then we can optimize even more. So just to piggyback off of that, for example, Fiverr uses Payoneer, which is another one. Airbnb also uses a mix of Payoneer with different tools. So we know that little by little, these platforms want to be offering their services in different countries. So we want to be there as well. To the second question, yes, we've been talking, for example, I mentioned Spotify a lot because Spotify knows that their consumption side, right, all the people that are their users depend on the artist side, right? That's why they invested so much in Spotify for artists. That's why they're investing so much in these creator tools, because if they are providing these tools to these creatives, they will continue to develop the content itself, right? What you mentioned, the attention currency, let's say. On the terms of blockchain, I'm really interested because something that has caught our eye, and we've talked with a lot of stakeholders as well, is the idea of IP or rights holders, right? So for example, whenever there's going to be a smart contract between a creative and a client, even though we haven't implemented anything in the blockchain, we are interested in exploring that because it can give a level of transparency as well as to who owns the creative piece of work that is being transacted on the platform. So I think that's also something that provides, that will eventually provide a lot of value. Right now, our main core focus is making sure that, you know, both ends of the marketplace are providing value, right? Clients can find the creatives can get jobs and get paid as consistently as possible. But I'd love to talk more about that as well in detail.
Yeah, no, and we can talk more. I'm an advisor for a company called Copyright Coins in Europe that is solving that problem. And they've gone through a lot of the legwork and foundational work. So we'd be happy to discuss that more.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Okay, if I check in here. All right, so some thoughts. First of all, I really liked your presentation. I thought it was very clean, a very clear walkthrough of the, you know, who your market is, what you're providing for them. And, you know, I think that both the sequence as well as the slides gave me comfort about the business and about your thoughtfulness in building it. So I just want to give a kudos to you on that one. I'm curious, if, you know, Lisa being the expert in presentation, if she agrees, but, you know, I've seen thousands and, you know, I'm feeling good about how you conveyed what you're doing. That's me. I feel like you know the space. I feel that you know, sort of defined the market you're going after, what your solution is, you know, what that experience is, et cetera. And you did it quite efficiently, which is so important. A couple of, I'm not an expert in the space completely. I do believe in the space though. I think it's very, you know, much on trend and all of that future of work. You started with future of work. I'm big on that work for Microsoft. But it is a very long tail and sort of two-sided marketplace, which is a hard game to play, right? So I appreciate your knowledge of the space because that's a non-negotiable in terms of being competitive in the space. You know, you're sort of in, I feel like you're in the trenches. My question to you isn't exactly clear, but it's more like a reach out for a little bit more color for my own edification around the stack. And not all, and the stack for each side of this two-sided marketplace. So, you know, for the marketers themselves, like what are the, because they're paying the money into the system, right? I mean, I presume, or maybe you're taking money from both sides. I don't remember.
Right, yeah. So, right now, we only take it from the creative standpoint. Just, yeah, from 20%. But yeah.
Okay. So for that to grow, you need to have enough demand coming from the projects, right? And then you need to have enough projects actually hit, but then obviously there's a repeat rate, you know? So can you?
Are we still here?
Yeah, I am still here, but I think, yeah, Teresa, I think she stalled, right? Manana, you're muted, by the way.
Yeah. Sorry, she can actually back. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Go.
So I think the question she was asking was around how the marketers, what's the value for the people on the other
and how
side
to
of
continue. Yeah, exactly. And I think you piggyback off of the idea of, yes, since it's a two-sided marketplace, we want to make sure that there's both, supply. I guess on that sense, she understood also that The supply side is because there's a lot of creatives, and a lot of creatives need jobs, so they're a little bit easier to acquire. However, we have to continue demand. And yes, the strategy to continue growing demand it is basically one of the features that we want to differentiate ourselves, StereoTech, from other, let's say, work passion economy marketplaces, is that we consider ourselves as a marketplace network. The market network term was coined by NFX, which is another venture capital firm in San Francisco. And the idea of that is that we do provide a two-sided marketplace, but on one side, on the supply side, we provide a continual value. And that is basically defined as people that want to collaborate with no necessarily monetary transactions between them. So for example, consider a drummer trying to work with a bass player, right? They're not necessarily paying themselves, but they do want to work because they're continuing to work for something that eventually will provide a transaction model on it. So there's basically those three models where we're trying to optimize, if you pay by the hour, pay by the entire project, or if it's a collaboration. And I think that's part of the value as well. And the second differentiator, I think, to continue generating demand is the idea that you can build teams on the platform. So if you consider Upwork or Fiverr, which are all of these other marketplaces, you're usually tied to hiring only one individual, or you hire an agency and then the agency, you don't know who the agency is, but it's a one-on-one transaction. What we want to do is that the person or the client can hire multiple people without necessarily helping them communicate, but they can work in parallel, in tandem. And I think the on-demand team concept, I think it's very important because that can allow them to say, yes, I have the exact people that I want to work. I do not have to be tied to the team that the agency provides, but I can actually drag and drop and select the people that want to work with me. And I think those are the two. I think, well, eventually this is going to be recorded, but yeah, perhaps we're...
Yeah, that is a great competitive differentiator because you're right, Fiverr and a lot of these online marketplaces are really, and Upwork, really one-to-one rather than team. And if you have the focus on team, your customer experience is going to be different in order to facilitate that kind of group teamwork.
Thank you for the question, Teresa. I think you'll eventually listen to the answer.
I was going to say, in response to Tereza's comments, there are three different types of investors, and there's angel or seed, and then there's VC, and then there's corporate. And I would see Teresa as being more the corporate. So the presentation that you had, since we have extra time here, the presentation that you delivered was perfect for a corporate investor who is really looking for the strategic value. They want to know that you know what you're talking about, that you know the space, that you can add things to the space, but they're not as interested in the emotional hook. Angel investors, you really have to have that story that I asked Max for, and for VCs, they're going to do a lot of due diligence. So they're kind of in the middle. So yeah, it's hard to do a presentation to a mixed group, but like she said, I think that was right on target for her category.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for the feedback.
Yeah, and what is your the go-to-market strategy after the COVID?
I think
and your strategy during the pandemic too. What is your plans and
Okay. Yeah, I think it hasn't changed that much from our end. So I think it's two, let's say, sub questions in it. One of them is the go-to-market strategy in general. It has been basically reaching out to creatives, generating that supply. I showed basically we have a lot of inbound content strategies. So for example, we have our hub. We publish a lot of articles. That's how we generate a lot of inbound. We have a podcast. That's also a lot of inbound traffic. And I do a lot of talks in concerts, events, festivals, anything that has to do with the mix of creative technology and the industries, the creative industries. We get a lot of inbound through that, especially through universities as well, because they have their alum creative students that have been part of the creative industries. They're continually going back to the university either to teach, to continue working there, and finding other collaborators for jobs. So that's also one of our initial hooks to create that supply. And on the demand side, our go-to-market strategy has always been as well reaching out, cold emailing, building these leads, and generating continually a good sales pipeline with them. On terms of the COVID side, I think something that we saw a lot was that we generated like a good uptick in terms of supply growth. So users have been continually going into StereoTech because they're understanding that they need more digital tools in order to continue having that consistent workflow, and that they have to acquire and convert their skills into other potential jobs. So perhaps the musician that was dependent on the cruise lines singing every night for 2 months out in sea, now they have to stay at home, use those skills in order to do something else digitally. And I think that's one of the values that we're focusing on right now. I think furthermore, it's going to be more of that dynamic of demand. It's not now that because somebody is a musician, it's just a musician. No, they have a multiple set of skills. Jobs are completely unbundled. And I think that's the entire, let's say, outlook of what the future of work looks like. A lot of people have skills, and depending on the project that they want to work on, they take the hat of one skill, they put the other hat, and then they start to work. So I think that's something that we want to facilitate.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I have a slightly odd question or unusual question. I'm just wondering, when you mentioned that you had received a grant from MIT Ventures, I was just wondering what you feel is the reason. What was the thing that generated interest there when you presented? What was the biggest pull or hook for them?
Good question. So we've actually we won an award by MIT Technology Review and the Inter-American Development Bank. That was the award that we got, monetary award. And then the second one was that we were finalists of MIT Solve. MIT Solve, they have global challenges every year, and we were actually finalists. We didn't win, unfortunately. But I think both of those opportunities helped kind of like put a magnifying glass on the fact that, yes, creativity and culture is not just a commodity. It's not just something that people consume on their Spotify, on their car, or on when they're watching Netflix, but there's an entire breadth of workforce individuals in the background, depending on that, and needing to have a continual workflow around that. I think one of the biggest assets, it's me as a Latin American, a lot of people are looking a lot into Latin America because of, first of all, because of its multiculturality, diversity, and in terms of the exports of creative assets. So a lot of people, for example, recently there was, I think it was like Fox that they were doing on a reality TV show, and they were looking specifically for Latin American musicians because they wanted to be more diverse whenever they were showing something. And I think that adds a lot of perspective and value. And in terms of the MIT opportunities, that was, I think, one of the previous, like the most important assets, right? Trying to not consider that Latin America is one entire big country. No, it's an entire sea of mixes of races, of diverse creativity that can be also sold in very quality to different clients around the world. And we want to be that link. We want to be kind of like sit in that middle and be part of that that marketplace, basically. So I think that's one of the, I think that's perhaps the primary aspect.
Yeah, thank you. That helps.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I have one more question on the technology side. What is the killer feature? Maybe something like the Max say from the artificial intelligence, like a GPT-3 for the voice.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah. So we don't. Let's say we don't like to mention that we use, we are an AI marketplace. We believe that the value is in the transactions that are providing between supply and demand. Mm-hmm. However, we are using a lot of machine learning techniques to understand teams. What is the ideal typology of teams? And as we grow on the user base, we're learning using those models to precisely get to a point wherever a client goes into StereoTech, they can search, I have this budget, I want to build this project, and I am based on, I don't know, in Miami. And automatically suggest the people that has, hey, based on your budget, based on the skills that you're looking for, this is the ideal team, because there has been a lot of history around these teams. We started to analyze all of that. We actually built our own data model to precisely reflect what is the ideal core team for audiovisual projects. And as more, little by little, as we get more data, we're feeding that into the data. We actually, I didn't show you actually the drag and drop team builder that we have, because we built something called the Team Success Index Score. And what that shows is that if somebody wants to build a team, StereoTech will show you a potential, like a probability score of success, which is something incredible because usually it's a gut feeling that people in human resources decide if they want to hire or not somebody. But with StereoTech, you're mitigating that risk. You're trying to get closer to a sense where you say, yeah, this team will work together and will work based on the requirements that I have. So it's something that we continue to build. And I think it's mainly that. Then eventually, you know, with Lisa, we were talking about blockchain. I'm interested in that particularly. We haven't developed anything yet, but I think it's something that a strategy down the line. There's been a lot of numerous companies like Dot Blockchain, for example, trying to change the idea of audio tracks that are on the blockchain. So for royalties, etc. So I think that's something that
interesting.
Develop.
Yeah, and I have one more question. And for example, on the side, like how you can survive during like the next 6 months, for example, without the investment. What is the plan B?
Yeah, I mean, we want to fundraise to accelerate our product development and growth and accelerate our sales pipeline, but we are depending right now on bootstrap revenues. So the revenues that we have, that's it, and we continue to apply to other grants, to other opportunities that arise. But yeah, like, you know, in front of 2021, what we want to do is already have all our things in place and be able to scale as much as possible. With investment. Yep.
Okay, Lisa, maybe one more question.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say that you definitely know your space and you've thought about all the angles. So when we ask the questions, it's clear that you have answers for these things. You've thought through them. So I wanted to give you credit for really knowing your business and the space. It's clear that you're passionate about it. And you know, it's something that I think we all can see the value of, because who has been the least rewarded in our society is the creatives, right? And the royalties are very slow in coming. Yeah, rather than ask another question, I just wanted to say that it's clear that you have a lot of knowledge about the space, and I'm excited about the prospect of what you're building. We'd like to hear more.
Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate it. Sure. Yeah, we'll definitely follow up.
Yes, and please pass your presentation. Okay. Yeah, by the way, it was really great pitch session. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Tereza and Tomas and Max. Thank you for this time. Yeah, and see you on the next week.
All right. Thank you, Manana, as well, for putting it together.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.